Today we're going to talk about loading a kiln, a Bisque kiln specifically. We're going to go through how to put in your shelves, how to program it, what to fire, all this stuff. We've got a lot to cover, so I'm going to get right to it. First thing I do before loading the kiln is a cursory check around the kiln to make sure there's nothing flammable. I'm not going to go into the setup of your kiln or the wiring of your kiln. Hopefully you've had that done correctly. Mine is hardwired. The shutoff is in the garage and away from the kiln, so if there is something going on, I don't have to run around the kiln to turn it off. It's vented with a wall vent. Mine is 18 inches from any flammable source, and the floor around it is tile on top of concrete. That's in case a plug falls out during a firing. It's not going to roll to anything that is flammable. That goes for around where the plugs are too, is an open, clean space where flammable stuff does not live. In the kiln, my kiln is a hand-me-down. It was a freebie, so I don't complain about it. But there are issues where the elements have been dislodged from the brick when this kiln has been from New York to Oregon, back to New York, and in a couple different homes. And it's now with mine. So we've got broken brick that has been pinned has been pinned very carefully, I tell you, to stay back in place. And we do 3 posts for a full shelf. It does have 2 holes in the bottom of the kiln for ventilation, but we're going to go over to the table to explain why we do 3 posts and not 4. So we're at the table so it's easier to see. We have 4 posts that are pretty close to the same height. They're all the same size post. When we put them at the 4 corners of a shelf, we put our shelf down. 4 never will sit as flat as 3 will. 3 makes up a plane, 4 makes up a mess. So now we have an uneven shelf. There's play underneath it. So if we go like this, I'll flip it, for shits and giggles, same thing. We have play. Now what happens with that is, if we've got this post that's low, or this post that's low, depending on where it's stacked, and we put another post on top here, and we put weight on this, that's what's going to split a shelf, is having it be able to rock, having it pivot on these 2 points and split the shelf in that direction, especially if you have a really full load. With 3 posts, that doesn't happen. And when we load the kiln, you'll see it when I do an inside shot of the kiln, my posts stick out from underneath just a little bit. So when I do the next layer from above, I can see right where my post is, so that I stack them right on top of each other. That's important for your shelf life. I only bisque in my electric kiln, so none of my shelves are washed. If you're going to be doing glaze firing, you should have kiln wash or bat wash, depending on where you are in the world, on your kiln shelf so it doesn't ruin it. But we're going to go over the third, or split shelves, half shelves. You're also going to want 3 posts per shelf. The same reason. 3 is even. Some people will put one in the middle. Well, this one doesn't even hit in the middle, but let's say one that's taller. Yeah, same thing. If there's one that's taller, you're going to get it to rock, and then you'll split your shelf in this direction. If you're going to be putting more than 1 shelf together, I usually will put, so the shelf overhangs the little base parts, and that goes together. If you're going to be splitting the shelf up, whereas you're not going to be going up as a full shelf, you can put them sideways and then do a different layer going up. To the kiln! Alright, so back inside the kiln. So each of the shelves are going to have 3 posts. And you can see the post is sticking out a little bit, so I know where to put the one above. The post height is going to be determined by your work and your kiln. So I would like to have 2 elements below my shelf for the first shelf, or more. Typically, people will not stack the tallest stuff on the bottom. I don't know why. But if you stack the tall stuff, or at least the medium stuff at the bottom, you're going to have better heat distribution throughout your kiln as it's firing. If you put another shelf down, like a lot of people will put a platter down at the bottom shelf, and a platter, here, I don't have a platter, but let's imagine there's a platter in there, that the hottest part of the kiln and the coldest part of the kiln are going to be on the same piece. Hottest part being what is going to be near an element, and the coldest part is going to be the bottom middle of your kiln. Because it's insulated in that there's no elements near, like it's the furthest away from the element as you can get, and it's got the most amount of thermal mass to heat up. You put a platter there, now you're adding the platter thickness, and then you put another shelf really low, and then you got that shelf's mass there, and it's just hard to heat that up. And you'll get splits that happen from your outside edge towards the middle. And that's no es bueno. So I usually don't put anything flat on my bottom shelf. So I'm going to put you back in the little camera holder. I'm not going to put you in the holder. We're going to kind of do what I'm working with. So I have stuff that's up here to get bisqued. Most of this is all the way dry. There's some pieces that have a little dampness still. So we've got those, and we've got stuff from a workshop that came back that I'm going to load. So I'm going to pick a shelf height that I can probably get 2 tumblers underneath. So something like that, and then we'll work from there. So when I'm loading a kiln, I want to get as much work in as possible. I'm going to slow my firing down if it's got a super ton amount of work that's stacked inside of themselves. Otherwise, I'm going to do a typical slow fire program, and that's usually like a 11 to 12 hour program. I measure stuff by putting them next to a post typically, and we see that's a little high. So I'm just going to drop that down. I'm going to pick pots until they fit. That one's short enough. That one's too tall. It goes there. Upside down, right side up isn't going to matter much. If my pots were a little damp, I'd probably start them upside down. Things can touch. I will cram things together. If I had a whole firing of just cylinders like this, I'd fire the whole thing as a tumble stack. I'd just stack these right to the top. Any distance that you have in between the pot and the shelf is good enough. This one is just there, so that's fine. And I will fast forward through the rest of this. Okay, well, we're here. Let's talk about bowls. So I stack bowls inside themselves and foot to foot, lip to lip. So if I'm going to do a layer, I'd scooch it right to it. If I can get one to fit inside of it, I'll put it inside. And if I can get that one to fit inside, I can probably get that one to fit inside. I can probably get one to fit over it. Not quite. Not quite. So we're going to start another layer. We're going to do this kind of opposite-y. Put that one there. And that one there, so I can scooch them right up against the other one. have a big enough bowl to go over it. That'll work. You can stack them inside of themselves. I don't like them going too far in, so that one sits about halfway into the curve. So that is enough for the for it not to get caught. And then on the inside of the bowls, we can put more stuff. So, usually keep another post around and go boop. So that's underneath. Jars, I don't fire my lids on either. I fire them separately. They don't have to be fired on. If for some reason it fit well like that, I'd fire them together. But I can just fire them stuck in between stuff. They don't have to sit on anything. So one of the misconceptions are in a bisque firing is that things shrink and move. And I guess if you're firing low fire stuff, that's the case. If you're firing 04 bisque, then things are going to shrink because you're getting close to the maturity of the clay. In a bisque for high temperature work, we're not coming anywhere near that stage of their body shrinkagey stuff. So nothing's gonna move. The test that I've done so far on every clay body that I've used has been that a clay body isn't gonna shrink. None of the 04 or none of the Cone 6 or Cone 10 clay bodies has ever shrank on me. Things are gonna heat up when they expand, but so is everything else in the kiln. So the kiln shelves expand, the kiln itself expands. So there isn't a whole lot of worrying that you need to have about stuff sticking and splitting. People will put sand in the bottom of a bisque kiln, and that's not necessary and actually can be the cause of other issues. Sand is just more thermal mass. We want to eliminate that, especially on big pieces. If you put a little bit of sand, okay, you know, that might help you get your fingers and stuff underneath. I've used it where I've had to put like rope straps. You can pull the rope strap out from underneath the sand. But the sand like underneath a platter in a bisque is just a waste of time. You have to clean out the sand, and it's not a necessity. Yeah. I'm just gonna make sure I don't hit my thermocouple. I'm gonna pop that in there. Now there's no, I'll make sure I'm just on the posts. So if it rocks, then I know I'm on a piece, and that'd be no good. So next is the loading of more precarious stuff. And I'm gonna measure to see, I think my tallest plate is this one. So I could put another shelf in, but the shelf is only going to get me a ½ inch of space. So I'm not going to put any more shelves in. I'm going to just load the plates. Okay, so we're going to load plates. The other misconception in kiln firing, especially bisque, is that things are going to warp if they're not sitting on their feet and stuff. And that's just not the case. We can take plates, lean them up against a brick. That will give airspace to go underneath and below without trapping anything. Scooch it a little more towards the middle. And the thermal mass won't be all against the shelf. This way too, we can also stack a bunch of them up against each other. And then we just stack around them. For the top shelf, it's really easy to see how high you can go because you can kind of look at it from the side. And if you can see, if I back up a little bit, if you can see the other side of the top of the kiln compared to the piece, you can see that's how much further we have. Boop. So we got lots of space there. You can hang stuff over the edge of a firing. If this is way off the edge, because it's not gonna move, we can get a whole nother cup in there probably. I'm gonna scooch these over just a wee bit. I said I'm gonna scooch you over just a little bit. Get out of my way. Boop. Here we'll go in the next firing. Cones! Cones are the only way to really tell what the hell's going on in your kiln. I usually put one in the bottom and one in the top. So this time we're just gonna have one in the middle. This is 05, 06, 07. 07 would fall first. I'm gonna put that, scoot you a little bit, in front of the peep holes. Those would be the peeps. I'm gonna put one in, I'm gonna turn it on the side a little bit so I can see everything, and I'm gonna check it to make sure I can see all of it. If I can't, I'm gonna move it around. So I'm gonna push this up a little bit. So the reason we use cones is that nothing else is accurately going to tell us what's happening in the kiln all the time. Cones are the only thing that are constant. Our thermocouples change over time. They don't compensate for loads, whereas cones are always going to measure heat work. They're pretty constant. People asked about how close you get to the side of the kiln. It doesn't matter. As long as you're not like in an element, you're okay. I try not to lean anything on the side of the kiln. But if you did, it's not the end of the world. Oh, tons of fun watching somebody load a kiln, right? Okay, so we'll take you out of the little holder there. And I'm guessing I'm gonna have to do another video too, because there's more stuff to cover. But that's about it, guys. Okay.